right, guys. So, hey, we've got Josh on today. What we're going to do is I'm gonna run you guys through some market updates and talk about a little bit of strategy. And then we'll have Josh. I might interact with you a little bit, Josh, as we go through this. So you can have some speaking points in there as well. And then I think you've got some good stuff for us about some alternative loan products and FHA, VA type stuff conversation, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Right on, right on.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
Oh, of course, our pleasure. All right, well, let me get my screen up here. I got a little computer glitch at the end and I was like not having it. So hang in there. I'm going to go find the slides again. And I promised we were ready earlier. So we're going to go into it. And let me get the screen share up here. Let's see. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go here and get going on this. All right, guys. So it's that time for a market update at this point. We are into what? July already. We are into July, and that means how many months do we have left to really make our goals happen? How many?
6.
6 months to get it done, right? And what happens most of the time in any market is agents kind of shut down around the end of October and they don't do anything after that. So we're going to be having other conversations around that when we get closer to the last quarter of the month or the year. So what we want to do though right now is we're going to focus on what's happening today and what we have control over today in this market. All right, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of a market update here on San Diego, where we're at as of last night at around 10 p.m. So single family homes for sale right now, we're at 3,005 units, and that's up from last month at 2,270. So would you say that the inventory is ticking up slightly?
Yes.
Yep. So we've got, we have 1,686 single family homes pending right now. And that's 1,868 per month are actually closing at this moment. So the pendings are a little down over what's been closing. How I get that number is I go back 3 months of closings and I do, divided by 3. So we've got basically 1.6 months of inventory right now as we speak. Is that up from where we were a couple months ago? Yeah. I think we were talking like 2 weeks of inventory at one point. It was unbelievable where we were at. So one of the things that we want to talk about is moving forward, we're not looking in the rearview mirror because everything is changing. Everything is changing. Here's condos, just so you have a tick on what's happening with condos and townhomes. We've got 1,187 units on the market right now. That's up from 850. And we have 835 pending. And if you look at the pendings, they're up from the closings. So condos are a little more on fire. Why do you think that's happening? Possibly more affordability. There were maybe more, I don't think there were more available at one time, but I think the affordability might be there for some folks. So we've got 487 closed per month. The pendings are at 835. So we've got an uptick of what we're seeing there as far as condos selling. If we were going by the pending numbers, we would have 1.42 months of inventory. If we're going by what is actually closed in the last 3 months, 2.43 months of inventory. So somewhere in between there, but it looks like we've got a little bit more of an up market, a little speedier market for condos and townhomes right now. Okay, so I'm going to play this 9-minute video. Anybody have any questions before I move on? No? Okay, let's play this video.
The market added 25,000 homes to available
This is
inventory
national
this week. That's bigger than our models have predicted. And it's really fascinating to see how quickly this market can get back to normal levels of inventory. While many of the hottest markets like Phoenix, Austin, Salt Lake City have come to a screeching halt, there is still demand in much of the country. So we'll look at what is slowing and what is not in this week's Altos Research Market Update. Every week, Altos Research tracks every home for sale in the country. We analyze all the pricing, all the supply and demand, all the changes in that data, and we make it available to you before you see it. If you aren't using Altos Research Market Reports with your clients, your buyers and sellers, now might be the time
Shoot.
to step up. Go to altosresearch.com and book a free consult with our team, because everybody is worried about what's happening right now. And they need you to help them see clearly. I'm Mike Simonson. I'm the CEO of Altos Research. And here's what we're looking at for the week of June 27th, 2022. Available inventory of unsold single-family homes rose another 6.2% this week to 444,000 homes. We now have more homes on the market than we did at any point last year. Available inventory is still 50 to 70% fewer than we normally would have this time of year. So that's true even in places where inventory is really skyrocketing like Phoenix. So it's going to be interesting to watch how quickly we return to those normal levels of inventory. I've been of the view that it'll take several years of higher interest rates to build inventory back to that normal, what would normally be like 1 million homes on the market, single family homes available for buyers this time of year. If you listened to the Altos Top of Mind podcast last week, I interviewed Logan Motashami of Housing Wire, and you can hear his take on how it could be as soon as next summer when we're back to normal. It surprised me when he said it, but his logic is reasonable. So even though I've been surprised at how quickly we've added inventory this year, I'm still of the view that there's no giant wave coming. I just don't see where it would come from. In any case, we've had year-over-year inventory gains now from next year, and we will have it for next year as well. So that, frankly, is unusual in itself. We've had annually declining levels of inventory for most of the decade. So here's one way to look at inventory changes and what might be coming. Each bar in this chart is a week of inventory change. Above the line is inventory climbed from the week before. Below the line, inventory decreased. Each color here is a year. The brown at the far right of the chart is the forecast
Sorry.
for each week for the rest of this year. You can see how each year we have spikes. Those are usually the third week of May. And this year, our spikes are continuing into June. So we had one spike already in May. We just had this week another big spike in June, and probably into July as well. There's always a 4th of July dip, which is next Monday. So, we'll probably see another surge this week, and then the following week, we'll see the 4th of July impact lower 2 Mondays from now. It looks like we'll end the year with about 525,000 single family homes on the market. Though if buyers stall further in the fall, it could easily be more than that. Really fascinating to watch. Home prices, meanwhile, ticked down this week. The median price of single family homes in the US is now $453,800. That's the first weekly downtick since like January. And this seems likely to be the first of the downtrend for the second half of the year. The price of the new listings is also down this week to $419,900. The new listings leads the active market by a month. The light red line here turns down before the dark red line. And new listings are now 2.5% off the peak. So seasonally, this is normal, but I'm keeping an eye out here for faster than normal price declines. We haven't seen them yet. Prices are sticky, but we're watching for that forthcoming, because we can really see the demand changes when we look at price reductions. So we've been sharing our price reductions data each week, and here it is again. The percent of active listings that have taken a price cut before they sell, it's accelerating, record pace. You can see how steeply the dark red line here is climbing. Each line here is a year. And next week, we'll have over 30% with price cuts for the first time since Christmas 2019. Price cuts show no sign of slowing yet either. Normally by midsummer, the slope starts to level off. More price cuts happen in the third quarter and it climbs as you want to move that house before school or the holidays. But, we've been talking about this for several months. Sellers in August are going to be surprised by how slow it is. These price cuts are still accelerating. And there's a lot of sellers who try to take advantage of the market and they just miss the timing window. And you can really see the change in demand in our immediate sales tracker. This week, only 20,000 homes went into contract immediately after listing. That's the fewest in any week since February. We've had more new listings and fewer immediate sales this week than last year. Inventory is building. In 2 Mondays, we'll see the 4th of July dip like you can see last year in the middle of the summer. As a percentage of the new listings, you can see the immediate sales are falling dramatically. This week, 19.7% of the new listings went into contract within hours or just a couple of days after listing. 1 in 5 with their bidding wars, down from 1 in 3 earlier in the year. You can see at the right end of the chart here, each week we have fewer and fewer in this crazy competitive state. In fact, you can also see that last summer, immediate sales actually picked up as a percentage in the second half of the year. If you recall last summer, I was surprised that the market was re-accelerating when it did. I thought it was going to start normalizing a year ago. That didn't happen. And that set us up for this crazy first half of 2022. So I suspect that won't be the case anymore. This line here, the percentage of homes going into contract immediately after listing, is going to keep dropping, probably under 10% by the fall. This means fewer bidding wars, more selection for buyers. This is one of the market changes that I'm actually most encouraged about this moment. For people like first-time home buyers who are finally able to have some selection and not in this crazy competitive market, like with pressures to act irrationally. Again, when you're counseling buyers and sellers, this is really one way to communicate with them. That yes, the market is still surprisingly strong for homes that are priced properly. Still almost 20% went into contract immediately this week, but price reductions are climbing so quickly that the ones that don't price right are going to have an even tougher conditions later in the year. If you need to have these conversations with your client, go to altosresearch.com and sign up now so you can have the data in your hands, in the hands of your potential buyers and sellers today. All right, that's all the data we have time for today. More next week.
All right, guys. So in my listings right now, those conversations that I'm having are conversations I haven't had in a very long time, meaning, pricing it correctly to begin with is key. And I use the Altos reports to do that. What I do with that is, I'll go to this slide in a second, but I go up to, like he mentioned, that the new listings are the way the pricing of the new listings coming in, and it's in the top right-hand corner of any of those Altos reports. I didn't pull any up today, but if you go into Altos and you go to the top right corner, you'll see median list price and you'll see new listings. If the price is lower, that's an indicator that the new listings being priced are going to set the new pricing for the next month. And I use that for pricing on listings. Is it always does it always work out that way? No, because the market can shift back the other way. And within 2 weeks, I saw 92008 go from really slow to all of a sudden they were outbidding each other again to slowing down again, like within 45-day shift. I mean, it's kind of bananas out there. So it's a moving target when you're listing home, and having those conversations up front with your sellers is going to be key for you guys. So you're setting them up successfully for this market. So, okay, so that's one thing. And every zip code's different. We're seeing price reductions. A national average is 30%. In some zip codes, I've seen 20%. In some zip codes, I've seen 35%. So it's all over the board. So make sure that you guys are zeroing in on the proper information for your clients when you're meeting with your buyers and sellers to where it applies to them and maybe not, you know, down in San Diego versus Carlsbad. I mean, there's just a difference, right? It's a micro market. So we want to make sure we're speaking to the right market for them, and having those Altos reports are going to be a saving grace for you with buyers and with seller conversations. So make sure you guys are tapping into those. So one of the things I want to talk about today, because I've been talking to some of our agents on the team and other agents outside of the team, and I taught this on our script practice last week. Agents' mindsets are not all the same right now. Would you guys agree? We've got people that are fearful. We've got people that are stuck in what I call yesterday's haircut in the market, right? You see those people walking around with mullets, right? So it's kind of nothing against you guys who have mullets. It's like yesterday's haircut, right? It's yesterday's news. It's history. It's for the last decade has been the conversation. And those of you that just got into the market in the last couple of years, guys, you don't know any different. You know what you felt, witnessed, worked, understood, and learned. And what I taught you and what we taught you and what the market taught you, you're going to have to forget some of that stuff right now, right? We're putting on new hats. We have a whole different focus. And when we're talking with listing agents, some of them still don't have a clue what's going on. They still think they're going to be able to get multiple offers for their sellers. And that's what they're telling them. They're setting them and themselves up for big failure, right? I don't know how many of you are getting calls from listing agents begging you to bring your buyers back. I mean, I know that's happening, right? So anyway, so it's a mindset that we all need to adopt. And the only thing we have control over is helping you guys on our team and anybody else that might be a guest on our call today to really get in the right mindset yourself and understanding the knowledge base that you need in order to really help people in this market. So one of the things, big rule of thumb is focus on what you can control, right? So what is it that you can control? Not the agent that gave you a hard time on the phone, not the one who doesn't know what's going on, not the buyer that doesn't know what's going on, not the seller that doesn't know what's going on. What do you have control over, right? And really what it comes down to is your activities and how you're having conversations. So activities are key for you guys, and consistent activity, kind of like a laser focus, I would say, not kind of, an actual laser focus on your activities. It's the only way you all will survive in this market. And I'm not trying to throw fear out there. And I'm saying this is an antidote, right? You've got to make your follow-up calls diligently. Be relentless with people. You want to time block and spend more time in your follow-up. And by the way, we're on a team that brings us a lot of opportunities, which is awesome, right? But even those have slowed down a little bit. What control do we have to make it work for us? We can also do some lead generation, right? Some good old-fashioned lead generation. And if there's an old timer on this call that'd be willing to speak up, what are some of the activities you can do to create more business outside of the internet leads that we have, the opportunities that we have?
Calling your sphere.
Boom. Call your sphere, right? What are you going to do? You're going to come from a place of service with your sphere. What are some of the things you could talk about right now? Are you going to call and say, hey, do you want to buy or sell a house? No. What are you going to talk about when you call your sphere?
The market is shifting. And do they have any questions?
Yeah, we got a lot of articles out there, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, seller, or whatever, Mr. Owner, we've got all kinds of information out there, and it's been confusing for a lot of people. I just want to make a phone call today and just let you know that, we know what's happening in this market, and we would love to offer you a home evaluation or answer any questions that you have. We're always here as your resource to help you with that. We are your advisor. So if there's anything that you need or your friends or family need, we're here to answer any questions that you have. Would you be interested in me helping you with seeing what your home evaluation is? Whatever, right? Something like that, right? Something from service. We're always coming from a place of service. It doesn't hurt just to make a phone call, see how everybody's doing, right? Just one of those kind of calls. Hey, just haven't talked to you in a year, haven't talked to you in 6 months. Just wanted to see how the family's doing. I drove by your house the other day and I saw that beautiful, new yard you put in. And I just want to say, wow, how great it looks. That's it. Don't talk about anything else. They may ask you about the market. Then that's your opportunity to go into what I mentioned earlier. So What else can you do for lead generation right now in this market? Anybody else have anything? I have some
Door
stuff.
knocking.
I have some stuff on the slide.
Door knocking.
Door knocking? Yep, absolutely. What are you going to door knock with? What's something good that you can take with you?
A market report for their neighborhood.
Yeah, Altos reports. You could just take an Altos report just for the zip code. And then when you knock on the door, you tell them, hey, this is what's happening in your zip code. I'd love to give you an evaluation on your home. Every home is different. Upgrades, location, views, those kind of things, right? So you can give them a general idea of what's going on. Good stuff. Anybody else?
Great videos.
Staying, oh, hi.
Hi,
Staying
Jennifer.
staying vigilant, Tina, in your follow-up, boss, and just make sure that you're looking at what your client's activity is.
Yeah, absolutely. Staying in front of them versus behind them, right? In the follow-up boss. We talked about that last week on training as well, is really making sure that you guys are spending an ample amount of time in there, making your follow-up calls, your texts, your emails, land, air, and sea contact. Okay, good stuff. And then somebody said something about videos. Did I hear somebody say something about
Yeah.
video?
That was me, Tina. I was saying if you could really pinpoint and concentrate great information, direct information, in 60-second videos about market updates and what's going on, and get the truth out there about the market, because there is so much misinformation. You can make a whole series on just battling misinformation.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, and you guys that are doing social media, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago too, put relevant, great information, like Josh said, out there. It can still be fun, but the stuff that I'm seeing out there from agents is more complaining about a client. Or have you seen that? Like, they're like, oh, and this guy shows up late, and they roll their eyes on the video. It's like, what? That means nothing to people right now. They want real, they want real good information about the market. Josh makes great videos. You can make videos. You can post some of these Altos report videos. There's all kinds of things you can do if you don't want to create content on your own as well. But get the good stuff out there. We got to pierce through the crap to get to people's hearts and for them to go, wow, this person really knows their stuff. The market for the next decade, I'm going to tell you, is for the experts. And you need to show up in your social media now as an expert. Drop little bombs of good information, and that's going to take you a really long way. Okay.
Tina?
Yeah.
Tina? If I can interject, I don't know how many of you have seen our green room at our office, but we have everything fully set up. Thank you, Mr. Nick Ergen, if he's out there. And then if you even want some edits, we can have my marketing coordinator, Yvonne, will do the edits for you guys. So if you literally write your script, we have a full teleprompter here. It's open to any Brand Realty agent to come in, do the recordings, put it down. It's so simple. I can't even express, if you bring in a written script, how simple it is to put together 60-second videos with great information.
Absolutely.
Cut it, edit it, send it out, and you're done.
That's awesome. And you can multi-purpose that information too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And if you need help, you've got Liv, you've got Josh's marketing gal. What's her name again? I'm sorry.
Giovanna.
Awesome.
Yep.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, thank you for that invite. And I know that we're building something at our office as well. It's just not done yet. So very cool. All right. So buyer consultations, going back to that, right? Are we doing those again? Are we actually sitting people down, really digging deep on what they're looking for in a home, why they're moving, answering all their questions about the market, showing them what's happening in the market, showing them the inventory on the MLS, really getting those people into a VIP status with what you're doing. And your Rocco, my dog, sorry, he has a little cough problem. So doing those buyer consultations again, right? Really bringing value to the table for these people. It's no longer, hey, show up, hurry up, show the house. Let's write the best offer you can. Don't do the inspections. Don't do termite, all that. That doesn't even take skill, guys. Really. I mean, it was hard in that market. Don't get me wrong, because we're getting beat up out there, but the skill is now educating, slowing down, really helping people, and really coming from that place of service. So the other thing, adding new people to your database daily. How can you meet new people? You can do open houses. You can knock doors. And when you knock the door, you may have data information. They may not want that. One of the things I always say is make your trip work for you. When I knock a door, and maybe I'm advertising, I'm knocking 25 doors around my open house, right? On a Wednesday, I go out, or a Thursday, and I knock doors for my Saturday open house. And I knock on the door and I let them know, hey, we're having an open house on this date, this time. You know, who do you know that's looking to move into this neighborhood? Oh, I don't know anybody right now. Well, gosh, it'd be great to have you just come by and take a look at the property. Let me ask you, if you were buying or selling a home, or you had a friend or family member who was, do you have a realtor you actually refer people to? And they might say yes, or they might say no. They say no, say, you know what? I have valuable information. You can even have your market update with you. That I have valuable information like this market update right here. And, or I can, you know, we can friend you on Facebook, Instagram, and send you valuable information. Promise I won't spam you, but I would love for you to really be in the know of this market. Would that be of interest to you? Yes, it would. Awesome. I would love to get your contact information, whatever you need, email. I already know your address, right? And then go into that and build your database. Keep building your database, you guys. We got to start thinking differently. We got to add people to our database. It might be just going down to the village in Carlsbad and getting to know the business owners down there, right? Go into there, see how it's going for them. Inflation's happening. There's things going on. Let's go talk to them and see how their businesses are doing. See how you can help them with their business. Maybe do a video with them, advertise their business on all your social media channels. Get to know those people. Gosh, they know a lot of people as well, right? They live in the community. So those kind of things are actually fun, right? So go out and build your database daily. I would suggest highly that you all take a pencil right now and write down a goal of how many people you can commit to add to your database every day. Could be 1, could be 2 a week. It's your goal. I want you guys to write something down that you feel is very attainable. Find a couple ways to do it and go out and get it done. So I hope you wrote that down. All right. So let's see, there's another thing you guys need to be super crystal clear on. You know, I taught the 12-week year, and I think we need to go back to that mentality again, because there's just so much going on that we need to chunk it down to just focusing on a quarter at a time. And every time I focus on my quarter, I hit my goals. I can tell you hands down, if I don't focus on it, I don't hit my goals. Okay. I'm in the weeds. We have Sisu on our team that you can go in and check where you're at any given time. If you set a really lofty goal this year, which the team did, by the way, and it's way behind, if that's stopping you mentally from moving forward, change the freaking goal. Change it. Bring it down a little bit. Make it something more that you can feel like it's attainable to you, right? Also, make sure that it pays your bills. You don't want to go so low that it's not going to pay your bills. You must make it challenging, but be very clear on your goals. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where do you want to be? What was your intention when you first started this year out? Why are you in real estate? Why am I doing this? Right? Write that down. Take some time to reflect on that. So the market has nothing to do with what you want to accomplish at all in your life. If you know what you want and your why is strong enough and you've got your intention set, you commit to that. You commit to your goals and everything else will take care of itself. So when you're in doing something and you're supposed to be prospecting, adding a new person to your database, maybe have it in your calendar that you're going to walk down to the village and meet a couple business owners, and now you're just sitting in your backyard, I don't know, picking at the grass. I don't know. You're doing something that's not really going to help you with your goals. Ask yourself at that moment, is this really the highest and best use of my time? And if it isn't, guys, get back on the bus. Just get back on the bus. There's a lot of distractions. I get it. I have them too. I'm not perfect, believe me. I'm speaking to myself here. So anybody else have any input on what would help you combat the fear, uncertainty, and doubt in a shifting market? So also, when you're good, you're putting your oxygen mask on first. It's going to help the client's mentality as well. You cannot commiserate with your clients, right? And we'll talk about that in a second. Anybody else have anything they want to add before we move on?
I do, Tina,
Yep.
if you don't mind.
No, please. That's why I ask you to be conversational with me in this.
One thing that helps sales is staying busy.
Yeah.
Because if you're not busy, then all of a sudden you get one lead and you just kill that lead because you're just not used to, being in step with your lingo and what you're saying, so on and so forth. constant education during slower times, constant working on all of your systems, constant reaching out to people, constant practice of talking about market conditions and home sales. That helps you stay focused and sharp and in tune, so that when you do get a lead, it's boom, right off the cuff, it's going, you're flying still. If you sit back and rest in your laurels, you become dull. And if you're going to be dull, you're going to be missing out on opportunities. So stay busy no matter what it is.
Then before you know it, you've slipped into the abyss of negative news, right?
Yep.
And now you've become that. And it's hard to pull out of that, right? It's really, really hard. So just keep your head above water, guys. Just keep swimming, as I said on our last meeting. Thank you, Josh, for that input. All right, it's time to upgrade your skill sets, guys. It's a new market and it's unfolding right now before our eyes. Like, it's happening fast. It just like shifted completely the other direction. So it's time to upgrade your skill set. And some of it we just talked about. If you've never added people to your database before, go out and do it. If you've never knocked a door before, go out and do it. If these things speak to you, if you need some coaching behind it, we're going to be doing more trainings on it. I am always available to help coach you through a 15-minute phone call with me. I get you out there on the streets, whatever you need to do. We've got it. We've done this before. I've been here 29 years. I've been through weird markets several times, and we can together really make it happen. But it takes action. It takes activity. It takes constant focus, consistency, persistence. Okay. And those are the mindset pieces that you can't set your skill set in place unless you have the right mindset. So get into the game on that. So I'm just going to give you some tips on reasons to reach out to people, right? Pricing changes that are happening in their market. It might be a buyer that maybe said to you or got beat up in the market last year. I just picked up a buyer this weekend, actually, guys. And the buyer their agent's not responding. They're a VA buyer. Yes, Josh, I'll work on converting them. Haven't gotten that far yet. They're a VA buyer. And she said, we got beat up so bad in the market last year, right? Just so bad. And she goes, I'm ready to go at it again. And I feel like I can get this done. But that agent never called me back. So I'm seeking a new agent. So you guys, most clients won't even reach out to try to find their old agent. They're just going to stick on to someone else. So if it's not you, it's going to be someone else. Make sure you're reaching out to the buyers to give them some assurances that this market might be a better playing field for them than it was last year. So reach out to those folks because they're also hearing all kinds of news, right? They're hearing negative news. They're hearing all kinds of things. So make sure you're reaching out, talking about changing prices, opportunities that are changing, the choices, less competition, creative home loans, what we're going to talk about soon here. Meet and go over market changes with them, whether they're a buyer or a seller. Just really educate. The other thing that we're doing is I'm having Jen, if we can do it, and she was going to look at some filters, is I actually heard this on a podcast. Those people that told you, hey, we're not going to buy right now because the market's going to crash and we're going to wait, or we're just going to wait, the prices are too high, or oh, now the interest rates are too high. You know, all those things that are in Follow Up Boss under your notes. Maybe you categorize them, maybe you threw them in the pond, maybe you put them in a nurture status somewhere. But we would like for you to go into your database, into Follow Up Boss, and find those people that said that, and then go after it. Go after it with new, great information to help them get off the fence. Okay. Anybody have any more input on this slide before I move on? Nope. Okay.
I have a question, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just saw one in my neighborhood that they took down their for sale sign, like for sale by owner, for example, right? Is that something that we're allowed to do? Like just
Yeah, go after for sale by owners, guys.
Okay.
I have a website or a service. It's only one person can be on it at a time, but I pay for it myself. And it was called Espresso Agent. I just jumped over to RedX, and RedX has the Altos reports. That's why I did it. I know we have them available, but it's built right into the system where I can funny on the spot speak to a seller or a for sale by owner or whomever I'm on the phone with. You know, about that. And there are for sale by owners, not very many in this market. So Nancy, that was you, right?
yes.
So Nancy, is it a for sale by owner?
It was a for sale by owner. They recently took it down though. So I was thinking of going anyways, just that whole block. of just, passing down my business cards. But yeah, it was a for sale by owners. I remember I made a mental note to come back.
Okay, so put it in your schedule versus your brain and go do
Okay.
it. Put it on a time slot that you're gonna go and talk and see if it's sold. Just say, hey, I noticed you took the sign down. Did you guys get your home sold? And smile.
Okay.
Did you get your home sold? Like you're excited for them. And they're
Yeah.
gonna, oh no, whatever, right? Say, well, gosh, we have a proven system that, has helped people in any market, especially this market, get their home sold still for the first most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Would that be something you'd like to hear more about?
Okay.
So just go have that conversation. And if, guess what? You have a couple goals while you're at that door, right? To get an appointment, to get or give a referral, because they may know somebody else, or they may have some buyers, by the way, maybe they did sell it. And maybe they have a list of buyers that didn't like their house and they kept a list, and you can get that list from them, right?
Yeah. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time. I used to use these 1-800 numbers, right? And I would
Yeah.
offer my 1-800 line to the for sale by owners. They loved it because they always miss phone calls. They're always at work and they hated the phone ringing. And I said, the first thing it's going to do for you, Mr. and Mrs. for sale by owner, is it's going to block out all the realtors that are trying to call you, which yay for me, right?
Yeah.
They're using this 1-800 line, and it's an information about their property, and people push a button to talk to the seller, right? So that's what the 1-800
Wow.
line is all about. So then what I would do is I would say, okay, so I get the list, Mr. and Mrs. For sale by owner. I will make sure that I hand it over to you every day. You'll get an update every day at the end of the day of all the people that called about your property. If you missed them because you were at work or whatever, you can certainly call them back. And if they don't work out for your home, all I ask is if I can have that list.
Okay.
Cool. Then I would drip on them other value adds that I had. I would say, hey, I see you have a flyer made here, but here, take a look at ours. And I would have a really nice glossy flyer, and I would have it made up. And I'd say, would you like some of these? Because you're going to do an open house this weekend, right? Yeah, we're doing an open house. Okay, I'll bring you 25 or whatever. Bring them. Next Monday, I'd call and I'd say, how'd the open house go? Right? You need more flyers, and I just found reasons to stay in front of those people. Again, that's for sale by owner plan. It works great. It worked for me in past markets. Again, there's not that many for sale by owners in this market. You would think there would have been a lot more in our past our past couple of years market, but
Yeah.
I really didn't see very many. So, all right. So just coming up with great stuff like that. Skill.
Hey, Tina.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's echoing a little bit here. One
Yeah,
second.
Two Garys.
Yeah. Okay, you can hear me okay?
Yeah, you're still echoing.
What about expireds? Do you foresee those coming in the next few months or so?
What?
God, I'm trying to. Hold on a second.
Expired? Did you say expired? Hello?
Yeah,
Did-
Tina, I think he was asking about expires, if you saw if they were going to be coming back on the market here in the
Yeah.
next few months.
Should be calling them now, should be door knocking them now, should be taking our seller books by to them now, should be doing the Altos reports with them now, because they're coming. They're coming. So that's the kind of skill sets I'm talking about, right? For buyers, sellers, whatever, just building different skill sets that are, by the way, tried and true, been around forever. So it's nothing new, right? All right, so skills working with buyers, have conversations to build rapport. We do work on this during our script practice weeks. I have the class is growing. Thank you. I think it's been very valuable for people. And building rapport, proper trust, and learn why they're moving. What's their why? And some of that might be in the driveway after you show them a home. Some of it might be at a meeting that they've agreed to meet you for 30 minutes. Never tell somebody you're going to sit with them for more than 30 to 45 minutes. If you say, hey, can you come do a buyer consultation for 2 hours? They're going to be like, no. Also offer a Zoom opportunity to people if they're not willing to sit down with you or able to sit down with you. Offer them the path of least resistance to be able to really get in front of these people to build that rapport, trust, and learning about why they're moving, what they need. And then you must have a strong value proposition. We talked about this on script practice last week. And I don't think Amy's on the call right now because she had a doctor's appointment, but she uses this at a very high level. And she's setting listing appointments for me. It's like, I am the best in the business, and she will tell them why. she convinces people through our value proposition of our team, my experience, what we do, how we serve our clients. She uses all those things when she has that proper opportunity to talk to them about that, when they're ready to listen to that after asking great questions. By the way, you don't want to just start puking on them what we do for them, right? You don't want to like desperately try to say, oh, we have this, we have that. You know, you got to build it into your conversation once you've started to build trust and rapport with somebody. So using team stats, you know, we sold 393 homes in last year, and we're up to, I don't even know, we're at now 100 and something this year. That sounds like a lot to people, even though it's not hitting our goal. But in this environment, we can help you, is what you're telling them. The ISAs make calls. They tee up, you know, 150 plus appointments per month. Now, why does that help a buyer or a seller? Well, a buyer would help because the ISAs will call around neighborhoods for you if you give them a list. Did you guys know that? They will help you with that. They will look for property for your buyers. Lenders who have programs that work in this market. One of the things I want to say about lenders is, and Josh, you just do purchase mortgages, right? Like for the most part, that's what you do.
I mean, my focus is purchase, but we do refinances. Any opportunity can as well.
Yeah, but there's also lenders out there that just really thrive on refinance, right?
Oh, for sure. There's certain lenders that build their entire business on refinances, and their business, they just do this all the time, right?
Yeah.
Rates are good, the refinancing. Rates are bad, they're on vacation.
That's right. So here's the thing, guys, when you're working with buyers, make sure that they're with a lender, or switch them over to Josh, because I'm really good at switching people. I find that little crack in what's going on with the other lender, and I pull them as fast as I can over to Josh. So here's what I do too, is you want to make sure now that you ask them, hey, do you know if your lender primarily does refinances? Because if they primarily do refinances, what did Josh just say? They're kind of on vacation. They're not doing the purchase mortgage stuff. They don't have all maybe the programs that people need. So you can find cracks in what they can do and convert them over to a strong lender who you know you can put your head down on a pillow at night and go to sleep because Josh has got it handled. Okay. People like Josh. Negotiation skills have to be sharp, guys. You have to be sharp in your negotiations. And a lot of that has to do with understanding the truth of the market, understanding how to negotiate in this environment, how to do those kind of things for people. Can you get closing costs paid for potentially in this market from a seller? I think you could, possibly. It's not always about price, right? So knowing some of the things in your toolbox that you can help buyers with in this market, possibly getting closing costs covered, all right? Or money towards buying down the rate, right? Or you know about loan products that Josh is going to teach you about, that what you can introduce to people, right? So those are all part of just skills in general, and then some negotiation skills, market knowledge. Show up at your showings with a buyer book, have your act together, be clean, have a clean car, really have a good presence. People are watching, right? Make sure you're previewing the inventory to know the market. What else do you guys have? Anything else that you think? I mean, there's more, but what else do you think you could be doing for your strong value proposition? Okay. Know what questions to ask. Know how to handle objections. So here's an objection. We will wait for the market to crash, or the market's too high, or the market is, the rates are too, it doesn't matter what they say, right? You don't want to commiserate with them. You want to say, oh yeah, you're right. This is, I want to read. Oh, did you know I read this article last week that said that we all should just get a job? Like, and they're laying off agents all across the country. Did you guys hear that? Like, oh my gosh, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, it is awful out there. This is not what you want to do. That's a big no, right? Here's a good dialogue for you. I hear you. Help me understand what got you looking at homes to begin with. We're pivoting. We're pivoting. I hear you. So you hear them. You're not going to read into it. You're not going to commiserate. I hear you. Help me understand what got you looking at homes to begin with. Okay. And then interest rates are too high. Same thing. And this, I'm driving home a point here. I hear you. Help me understand what got you looking at homes to begin with. What got you into this? And then they might say, we were looking for a larger home, right? Well, why were you looking for more space? Stay curious, always leading with questions. Why were you looking for more space? What was important to you about finding more space? And then just listen to their response. Then you might go into a solution where it's like, well, have you talked with your lender since the rates went up to see where you qualify? Does your lender have loan options like a 10-1 ARMs, for example, which could allow you to qualify for more home at maybe a lower starting rate? Have you worked with any agents that can actually say that they might be able to negotiate a credit for you to buy those rates down if we need to, or possibly get your closing costs paid, right? So those kind of dialogues are different, would you agree, than what we were having just 3 months ago? They are completely different. And really staying into curiosity, you guys, and not trying to just blast them with all your knowledge. You need to really get them to level set themselves and get on your page and move forward. You're working on moving them forward in this market, not letting them get stuck in yesterday's market like many others are, including agents right now. So, all right. So a few more things. Buyers and sellers are seeking good advice in this market. We've already pounded that. Social media posts are best for dropping market knowledge and tips for buyers and sellers. Go back to your follow-up boss and find the buyers who quit the market last year, told you that they're going to wait, etc. Reach out to them as soon as possible and have the conversation. All about conversations, guys. Thank you for your time. And I'm going to hand the torch over to our buddy here, Josh. Josh, do you need to share your screen?
I will in just a minute. If I can, that'd be great.
Yeah. I'll give you a little time. Do you have to go to the bathroom or something? Or?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I was just pulling up some information because you made me think about something when you're talking about people who think that the rates are too high. And I understand why they're saying that. But what I wanted to share real quick was this cool little stat. In 2018, just a short time ago, 4.54% was the average conventional 30-year fixed rate loan. We're what, a half point higher than that right now? I think we're at 4.99% today is what I saw for an average conventional 30-year fixed rate loan. By 2019, it was at 3.94%. By 2020, it was 3.11. 2021, 2.96. So for anyone saying that, oh, the rates are too high, understand that. But what I see and what I hear when Tina's talking, phenomenal job, Tina, is that the one thing I see in this market is crazy opportunity. And I truly mean this. And I think that when you're talking to clients, this is how I'm talking to every one of my clients, is that the opportunity is off the charts right now because those people that could not get an offer accepted just 6 months ago now have a chance to get an offer accepted with a 3% down, a down payment assistance program. Are you kidding me? Who was doing that over the last 3 years? Nobody. VA buyers, FHA buyers. And when it comes to interest rates, I am going to do my share screen right now. I might butcher this, but I'll try my best. When it comes to interest rates, I'm going to show you guys the mortgage-backed security bond market, and it's going to tie this into why this is such an incredible opportunity right now. So I'm going to hit share. Can you guys all see my screen? And it shows
absolutely
market graph. Okay. Yep. So what you're looking at, and this is a deep dive on mortgage interest rates. So I apologize. It's a little boring, but I think it's super pertinent. This is the mortgage-backed security bond market. This is what controls 30-year fixed rate loans. All government insured, FHA, VA, USDA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, everything that's government insured. This is what controls it. Every single one of these little candlesticks that you see in this graph, that represents one day, right? So you can see that for the previous, this is 12 months right here. So this whole time right here, this is where rates were at, 2.625, 2.75, the whole bit. And all of a sudden it started going in about August 2021. Rates started when the bond market's dropping. That means the cost of the bond is going down, which moves the price of interest rates up, right? And you'll see that the price of the bond is going down. Rates are going up, rates are going up. And then the Fed starts hiking rates, which is exactly what we've been calling for. Rates actually started to improve. And then the consumer price index with inflation came out, and inflation was horrible. And rates dropped, or rates worsened again. And now we see this climb where rates are starting to improve again. And I said in my video last week for you guys that watched it, that we have another consumer price index report coming out, which is going to show inflation. And inflation is probably going to be really high on this next reading as well. So you'll probably see the market come back down. But here's my point. Rates are only going to be high for so long. It could be another 6 months, because what's going to happen is the year-over-year inflation reports that are causing interest rates to go up, they're going to start comparing themselves to high inflation reports. And those inflationary concerns aren't going to be as crazy. And then what's going to happen, and you're already seeing it, if you guys don't pay attention to economic reports, start, because that's a great way to educate yourself and really give fantastic information to your clients. But we're going to start seeing negative economic news roll out because of the recession. It's going to start. And every single recession, I'm doing a video on it this week, actually. You guys see it on the Friday weekend rates video. Every single time we have a recession, they always bring lower interest rates. So what do you think is going to happen to the real estate market in this next 3, 4, 5, 6 month window, where buyers are getting these crazy opportunities that they didn't normally have? And then all of a sudden rates go back in the 3s again. And the media frenzy about, oh, rates are lowering. And the Federal Reserve will have to start lowering the Fed fund rate to try to keep us from going into too heavy recession, which is only going to bring more media attention back to lower interest rates. That's what caused the most recent flurry of real estate from 2019 to 2021 was those low rates. So in my opinion, and the people that I listen to, as soon as we start seeing low rates again, it's going to go back to a very competitive market. Just my 2 cents.
So now it's opportunity time right now.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. So just like all those people that bought in 2018 with a 4.5% interest rate, they all refinanced 2 or 3 times to get down to 2.5, 2.625, 2.75. It's the exact same opportunity. Buy the home now, and we can't guarantee it, but when you look at the video I'm putting together for Friday, and every single recession, everyone brought lower interest rates, you're going to see that it's going to be an absolutely fantastic buy. Put an offer in requesting all the closing costs being covered. Put an offer in with paying points, which is one of the things, and get the seller to pay the points. There's so many different opportunities that are going to come available. And I think the amount of opportunity out there over the next 6 months is going to be fantastic. And those that take advantage of it are going to reap the benefit of, sticking their neck out there. It's not going to collapse. There's no way. Just listen to the alt.
Guys, there's no doom and gloom. This is actually a very, very exciting time. You've got a skill set shift you have to make, a mindset shift you have to make, obviously. And also, just really, really just the dialogues and understanding the good stuff like Josh has given you, and using that information out there to turn the ship. You've got a lot of stuff against you, right? You got people just like, it's gossip city out there, it's crazy.
And look at your tone. Look at your rate of speech. Look how you're talking to your clients. Are you talking with enthusiasm? Are you going and expressing what a great opportunity is? Do you truly believe what a great opportunity is? I truly believe this is a phenomenal opportunity for people to buy. And if you can get that point across every single time you're talking to someone, they're like, okay, I hear all this negativity, but here's this person bringing facts and figures, and they're speaking with such passion about the market. That's going to sell. That's going to sell. That's going to educate. And you don't even have to sell. Just educate it and bring it with super positive vibes, and you're going to knock it out of the park. I truly believe that. So that's my little blip on interest rates and where they're going. Any questions on rates before I go to the next thing, which is assumability? Nobody. All right, cool. Let's talk about assumable loans. That was one of the things that I was told to talk about. If you aren't familiar with how assumable loans work, well, nobody really is, because there hasn't been a time like this in the last 25 years where you can really use current loans, because you have a combination of equity and such incredibly low interest rates just a short time ago. So conventional loans, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, those are not assumable, okay? So if you have a client, we have the listing, a person's talking about selling, you want to find out what type of mortgage they have right away. If you have a buyer and they're VA or FHA, that's what type of loan they're going for. Even if they're not, you want to make sure you go to the seller and say, hey, what type of loan do you have? Because there's value in these lower interest rates. If that seller has a 2.75 VA 30-year fixed rate loan, and right now VA loans are at 4.375, well, there's value in that. Okay. So FHA loans and VA loans are both assumable. I am not, you don't get to choose your own loan officer on assumable loans. The buyer has to go directly to the seller's mortgage servicing company. And they have to, one, make sure that that mortgage servicing company will participate in the assumable process. Because some might just say, no, we don't do it. We don't have the staff. We don't have the, we're not set up to make that happen. So you got to find out, even though FHA and VA say they can assume loans, if the mortgage servicing company doesn't allow it, then you're out of luck, right? Also, with assumable loans, you still have to have the down payment. Okay, so here's a good example. If the person's selling their home for $800,000 and the loan balance is $600,000, what they're assuming is that $600,000 loan amount. They still have to bring the 200 grand to the table to cover that down payment. Does that make sense? So just because they have this great rate and this great loan, you still have to be able to bring the down payment. Okay. On FHA loans, obviously you're going to have mortgage insurance on there, which comes with all FHA loans, and you still have to pay closing costs because there's still title, there's still escrow, there still could be an appraisal. The mortgage servicing company is still going to have their own fees. They're not doing this stuff for free. They're going to have staff they have to pay for to do assumable loans. There's going to be interest due. There's going to be property taxes due. There's going to be insurance that has to be set up. So there's still costs and fees with these assumable loans. So that part of the process is the same. It's just you're not dealing with the normal loan officer. You're going directly to the mortgage servicing company. How long does it take? That's a great question on assumable loans. We're moving into a period that we haven't seen in my 23-year career, where assumable loans are an actual realistic possibility. All I can say is when you're dealing with mortgage servicing companies, remember, for those who were in the business back then, doing short sales and how hard that was to deal with mortgage servicing companies and their short sale departments. Now, it's not the dire straits that it was in 2008 and 9. So maybe, what are they called? Assumable loans might not be as difficult, but I've already been reading online that plan for 45 to 90 days for an assumable loan. Okay, so then you got to find a seller who's willing to wait the 45 to 90 days just to find out if that buyer qualifies for their assumable loan. So there's still a process. It's not just, hey, I'm going to assume your loan and be done, right? If you guys remember, short sales were taking 6 months sometimes. I mean, even longer in other cases. Tina, you were doing short sales, right, back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, and mortgage servicing companies, they're known for being unorganized, losing documents, being incompetent. There's a lot of struggles with dealing with mortgage servicing companies. So just keep that in mind when either pitching or educating buyers on assumable loans. We already covered the cost, and when it comes down to it, they still have to sign all the final loan documents that your deed of trust, your note, all the same disclosures that you have when you're signing loan documents. On VA loans, this is a really, really cool side of VA loans. Again, you have to make sure the mortgage servicing company is participating and will allow the loan to be assumed. And number two, you don't have to be a veteran per the VA to assume a VA loan. So I did countless VA loans at 2.25%, right? Countless over the last 3 years. I mean, so many, 2.25 to 2.75%. That is something that can be marketed heavily. If you're going to be the listing agent and you find out they have a VA loan, find out exactly that balance is, call over the mortgage servicing company with the borrower on the line, ask them if it's assumable, ask them their process, get all of that stuff out in the open and understand the process with that particular mortgage servicing company before you ever actually list the property, because that should be in the actual marketing of that listing, right? So you don't have to be a veteran. You can, and you use your same entitlement, all the different things you have to do when applying for a VA home loan. Also, they have to pay a VA funding fee, whether you are a veteran or not. It's only half a point, so it's pretty minimal. You have to qualify with credit scores, your down payment. You have to have the income, debt to income ratios, all that kind of thing, just like any other loan. But again, even with VA loans, you're doing it directly through the mortgage servicing company, not a loan officer like me. Okay. Call into the mortgage servicing company. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, here's the tricky part about it. San Diego is a military town. So you might have people buying or people selling that have the, VA loan. There has to be a release of liability from the mortgage. Okay. If they do an assumable loan, but the mortgage servicing company doesn't release the seller from the mortgage, that thing's still on their name. They just don't own the property. So it's still on their credit. They still get hit for late payments. They still have the downside of having a mortgage, and they're not going to be able to qualify for another loan. So it's a question that has to be asked right away. Will there be a release of liability from the lender when going through the assumable process? Okay.
Josh, I have a question on that.
Yeah.
If it's a non-VA buyer or that's assuming the VA and you need that release of liability, does that also give back that seller's entitlement for his next property? Or does it have to be a VA buyer that's assuming it in order for that VA vet to have their entitlement to move on?
No, as long as the release, great question, Peter, but what I was reading is that as long as the release of liability is given, then their entitlement is 100% restored. So
Okay.
that VA buyer can then go out and buy another property using their VA benefits. If it's not restored, or if it's not, the release of liability isn't granted, they can't use their VA home loan benefits to go buy another house until it is.
Right. Right. And is there a date? Is there a loan date that this assumable started, or does it have to be before a certain time? Like any loans that were generated after 1988, for example?
1986, there was, and it was, it said all FHA loans, any loan that's managed by HUD, FHA, VA, USDA, which we don't have a lot of USDA here, but it is. Those are all assumable style loans. And there are some rule changes after 1986 where there's going to be stipulations on who can assume it or not. And you have to be able to qualify it. And the biggest thing, that mortgage servicing company has to participate. There's a lot of little mortgage servicing companies out there. And if they're not equipped to handle assumability or the assumption process, then it might not even be an opportunity. So you always want to call and check and do all your due diligence before going down that path.
I read something, it says on the VA, if the loan was closed, now I don't know if this is right information or not, before March 1st, 1988, the lender's approval is not required as these loans are freely assumable. However, if your loan was closed after March 1st of 1988, you must get in touch with the VA approved private lender who can work with the assumable mortgage.
Yeah, again, the one thing I took from I've watched a couple different videos and read a bunch of articles is you have to check with the mortgage servicing company, because that's exactly who you're going to.
So when would this because if something is, the loan is 600, they're assuming the people are still going to want their equity, right? So that $200,000 that you're talking about. And so that's not really a great opportunity for either party. I mean, it's okay for the seller potentially, right? But it's not a good opportunity for the buyer, because who has just 200 grand laying around, right?
Right.
You could just get a new loan, right? But you would walk into it with a better interest rate.
Right.
If you were to do it that way, maybe a little less cost. I don't know. Right. Where would you guys see, or maybe even Josh, where this opportunity might be good? I think it could be used for marketing to get sellers, right? I think you could shape a marketing piece around, hey, did you know your loan might be assumable?
I'd love to meet with you, explain what it is, and then you convert them over to just, going standard on the market and show them their options, right?
I think it's a great idea, Tina. You guys should look back at every single FHA and VA loan that you did over the past 3 years. And that's a great phone call. That's a great, if you get a voicemail, then a follow-up video explaining what assumable loan means. Phenomenal idea.
Well, look at, I just got this list from Title because I asked for it last week, and it's all the FHA loans in Oceanside. I don't know if you guys can even see that. But that's a spreadsheet with, I don't know, a couple thousand, and they got the phone numbers for me. So I just got to come up with, something to talk about, right? It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do an assumable, right? But if the market goes down far enough, there may not be as big of an equity position. I don't think it will. I think we're still going to, we're going to see some relaxing of the prices, but I think we're also going to, I don't think we're going to see anything go, I don't think we're going to see prices tank, but if we do, I think that opportunity becomes better, right?
Absolutely.
It might be a short sale situation at that point, just depending on where they are on the line.
Yep.
So, all right.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is, I guess I could stop the share. That is assumable loans. Also, I think quick interest rate market update. I'm not sure if you guys knew this about interest rates, but they are looking pretty good on a VA 30-year fixed rate loan. We just locked in someone today at 4.375% on a VA 30-year fixed. And it could very easily, just within the next couple of weeks, depending on how this next inflation report comes out, I mean, we might see ourselves in the high threes again. So like I said, opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. I think there's tons out there. You just have to get after it and present all the opportunities that are truly out there.
Yeah. Thank you, Josh.
Of course. And then I'll say the offer again. If anyone's looking to do videos, you guys are always more than welcome to come to our office. You use our green screen, use the teleprompter, the whole bit. If you guys want to do interviews with me as a loan officer and post that to your social media, I'm happy to answer whatever questions in like an interview type of setting. It might be cool to get some information out there from an interview standpoint versus you just talking. So whatever ideas you guys have, bring them on over. We'd love to help out.
Awesome. Love it, guys. That's a great opportunity right there. Anybody have any questions for Josh or any questions in general?
Oh, buy down fees.
Oh,
I think that was one of the topics as well. So on a buy down fee right now, with rates being, slightly higher than they were a year ago or 2 years ago, we are not recommending any of our clients do buy down fees. Okay. Because it takes an awful lot of money to get an 1/8 of a point or a 1/4 point. I mean, you're talking 3/8 of a point buy down is $20-something thousand, right?
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Exactly. And so if you guys are talking to your clients and you're hearing that their closing costs are $26,000, I forget who I was talking with last week, but a certain lender that we all know was literally charging the buyer $26,000 to buy the rate down. And you should not be paying points right now, because if rates are going to go down over the next 6, 7, 12 months, they're going to be refinancing it anyway. So any money spent on buy down would be a complete waste. Now, a buy down would be cool if you can get a seller credit to help cover closing costs. Well, then that's an option. But your closing costs on a standard $800,000 home is already going to be $12,000, $13,000, $14,000. And a buy down really doesn't help the payment that much.
Hey, Josh, question for you on the ARMs. We've got some buyers out there that, and maybe that's why condo sales are up right now, but we've got some buyers out there that can no longer qualify where they were at one point. And now they're down by 50, 75 grand, or maybe 100, depending. I don't know where we're at. I think they're probably in a better position today because rates are better, but tell me about the ARMs. Let us.
Yeah. So I will always tell you guys exactly my thoughts on what we can do at PGS Home Loans with ARMs. So there's a couple things that aren't going to be our super strong suit, like your premier jumbo stuff where it's relationship lending. We're going to be really good, but we're not going to be number one when it comes to premier jumbo stuff with banking relationships. And ARMs are the same thing. Your best bet for ARMs, like Union Bank, US Bank, I think, they might not be doing that great at ARMs anymore. We're right up there with Chase and Wells Fargo and all those different places on ARMs. But I keep hearing about the credit unions that have these crazy interest rates on ARMs. We can't compete with that. But what I'll say about those things is that when you're dealing with these other lenders, one little minute guideline, something that wasn't taken care of in the pre-approval will kill your deal. And then they come rushing right back. So ARMs, we're about a half a point lower on interest rate when it comes to ARMs. So on a conventional loan right now, if we're at 5%, you could do a 7-1 ARM like 4.5. With us, it's not a drastic change, but if it saves a person $200 a month, I would 100% do it. Right?
Yeah,
Does that
I
answer
mean,
your question, Dina?
again, it's situational, right?
Yeah.
It's always good to have all the options in your, on your list and then go down the list and find the best option for that buyer.
Right.
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 So
And we'll present the ARMs to any client that wants to hear about them. Especially if it's a tight DTI situation where we can squeak out another $50,000 in purchase price by doing a 7-1 ARM versus doing a 30-year fix. Of course, we're going to look at that every single time.
Okay, good stuff. Anybody else have anything else before we wrap for the day? Nada? Well, we appreciate you, Josh. Thank you for all you do and being there for us and educating us and helping us to keep a positive outlook on what's ahead. And it's all good news. Thank you for that.
And hey, one last announcement. At the end of July, we are having the first annual PGS Cornhole Tournament at Pontos Beach. So we'd love for you guys all to be there.
Sweet.
More to come on that.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. You
Thanks,
guys have
Josh.
an amazing day.